everything I type, I try to save.
Okay, so I have the email at my work, they changed, I guess it updated for Microsoft or whatever, and they pulled off,
Let me ask you
what is
this.
it? Word
He fixed this.
spelling,
Yep.
spell check.
So when we approve the
I type
minutes.
all the time.
It is amended.
Do you know how many,
Okay.
I count on
He
that.
has the amended. we don't
So
have the
now I'm like,
amended.
I have to go back, I have to
Fixed
do
it
my own
already.
fixing, I'm like. So I
Love spelling.
I started with dictation and then I just go back
Yes, you
now.
got 4
and
minutes.
I just, but really, what a pain in the neck.
It is.
Still a pain in the neck.
When you're typing,
When you're doing all that
everything
stuff.
gets highlighted, like you should
Yeah,
change all of
I
this.
told everybody at work today, because today is my marathon meeting day at work and here. So I'm like, I said to them, I'm like, if I have to type more than 3 lines now because that's been shut off, I'm calling you. I'm just calling you. I'm sorry you don't want me to call you, but I'm calling you. Right?
I'm trying to find my answer back. I hear my phone ring. It goes, "What the heck?"
All right.
It's like you wore on it.
Let me check my weather again for Sunday.
Is it gonna snow?
What is the update? I wonder. I haven't had a chance to look either. Where are we gonna
Still
put
only
more
looking
snow?
like a little bit Saturday night, 1 to 3 Sunday during the day and 1 Sunday night. Oh, they can hear all us.
With the winds?
John just texted, they're listening to our conversation. I'm muted.
I'm not even
You
on.
muted.
No one can have.
Okay, can we call, are we ready?
Yeah, apparently John's just been listening to us. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, John could hear, he texted me, he's like, I'm listening to all your conversations. I don't
Ooh.
know how.
That's not good. All right. It's not up yet. It's not on the screen. I know, I was just gonna wait till the screen was up though.
Wasn't I supposed to get out of this?
No, no,
Remember that?
no, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all, Chet.
I remember that in the minutes.
Yeah.
Show me the minutes.
I think Judy, that was, you were gonna do it. All right. All right, let's call the regular scheduled Board of Ed meeting to order at 6:30 on Wednesday, January 28th.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see. I don't have a lot to report tonight. We did meet with the Board of Finance last week. I think that went pretty well. Getting on the same page with the understanding of our financials. And we have the student ambassadors tonight, so we'll jump right into that. You said you wanted to get going. Let's see. Do we have any public comment this evening? Not seeing any. And I have no correspondence. Troy, do you have any correspondence?
I have none.
Okay. All right, now we can go to student ambassador.
Okay, so to start with Wheeler's report. So basically quarter 3 just began. Obviously we didn't really have much school this week. So we're still getting into quarter 3, but all the mid-year assessments have been completed, and then report cards are set to come by the end of this week. Last Thursday and Friday, all of the high school students sat with their teachers and reviewed their work on their midterms and the important assessments in order to help continue to guide their mastery in the academic expectations that we have at Wheeler. And then on Thursday, February 5th, the Wheeler Library, Wheeler, and the PTO will be hosting Screenagers, a viewing and panel about the impact of screen time at the Wheeler Library from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The panel will allow parent and guardians to ask questions and seek input on how to manage screen time at home and at school. Some of the panelists include Christian St. Domingue, Mr. Salino, Ms. Higginbotham, Ms. Curioso, and 3 student representatives. And everybody's welcome to attend, but you must RSVP on the Wheeler Library website. And then there was some questions about the school lunch. So I did send out a survey, and so roughly 68% of students said that school lunch was fairly good. 62% said that it was diverse and had a lot of options. Obviously, there's still some mixed reviews on the silverware. I think most people are getting used to it. Some of the people that were in favor of the silverware were pushing for other reusable items. But obviously there is still some people who are a little bit more reserved when it comes to that. There were some comments about possibly working with the student government or the environmental club to start more recycling initiatives. And one student suggested possibly composting. So I just thought that'd be something to bring up. And then for the elementary school, the mid-year benchmarks are taking place at this time. They're currently using IXL for math benchmarks and IXL as well as DIPLS 8, I'm not sure, for ELA benchmarks. This data will be used by classroom teachers and interventionists for planning on how to support all learners. Grade level teams will be meeting the 3rd Thursday of each month to look at classroom level data. And they're also scheduling some half-day times for each team to meet with their interventionists to look more specifically at the benchmark data and plan for tiered instruction. They're gearing up for their annual spelling bee for students in grades 4th, 5th, and 6th. And this year, there will be no classroom level spelling bees, just the school-wide one, which will be on Friday, February 6th, with the winner moving on to the state level contest. They'd like to formally welcome a new student teacher into the building. Donna McConnelly is doing her students teaching with Miss Goodwin in 1st grade, and she has done some clinical hours here earlier this year, as well as volunteering in Miss Goodwin's classroom. So there's some pretty exciting things, some things to look forward to. There is, honestly, right now, there's not much. Mostly is like planning going on. I think the Wheeler debate team is looking on hosting our own debate with a couple other schools. So right now they're getting some interest from other schools. There's 2 possible dates. So that would be another thing.
Questions?
Well, I was just gonna, you're with the travel club as well, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you have something coming up, right?
Yeah, actually, that's right. I almost forgot. It just doesn't even feel like it's like happening. The travel club is going to Rome in roughly 2 weeks, which I will be going on. So I'll make sure to bring, to share some pictures next time we meet.
Well, and you have a fundraiser this Friday, right? Or
oh yes, I think. Yeah, I was gonna say. I
just figured we want to get it out to the 7 people who are watching our meeting.
There will be a soup night fundraiser on Friday from right before the basketball game. That's on Friday. It was originally supposed to be Tuesday, but now it's being moved to Friday. So there were a couple options. I think it's about like $10 for the meal. You get like soup, a salad, a drink, or like $5 for soup to go. So come support the travel club and help send us to Rome. Is there anything else I missed? I mean, Model UN is coming up in March. So that is the conference that you guys voted on to let us go to, which is actually this is the first year we're going to a overnight conference which will be in New York. It takes place in the UN headquarters in New York, which is a really cool experience. Our Model UN team has actually never gone to another conference besides UConn Model UN. So this is pretty exciting, especially for the group that's going. So we're really excited.
Can I just ask a quick question
Yes.
about the food? So did you get a sense that the students like the food? Like, you think that's better or same or?
Yeah, I think it's about the same. I
Okay.
mean, it's school food. I think, unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of responses as many as I was hoping for. And a few of the people did get lunch from home, but from what I did get, it does seem that most people are like it. There's some people are talking about some people want healthier food, some people want less healthy food. So it's kind of just like a mix.
But no comment on quality. Like,
No.
okay. Thanks.
Thank you and have a fantastic trip.
Thank you.
Yep. Let's see. And so the finance committee met and went over the financial report, and they put in a new chair, Judy Main. So Judy, if you want to report out on that.
So Kathy, I think everybody has the reports in their packet. Kathy had gone over the reports with us. A couple line items that we had looked at. Number 44, we're showing unfavorable 31,000 for substitutes, but we have a few FMLA extended leave that is causing that. Benefits are showing favorable, mostly in medical of 65,000. Unemployment's also favorable at roughly 15,000. Where we're showing unfavorable at a high number is 202 for line number 202 is for special education for students not attending North Stonington. We are currently trending at 64,193 unfavorable for the year, but Troy and Kathy are watching that closely, and we are still waiting on a response from the insurance company for the $100,000 reimbursement for the cyber incident.
Can I just tag on that just a little more
Yeah.
detail? Okay, just for those listening that maybe didn't catch the committee. On the medical, one of the reasons is that we don't always know exactly who's signing up for that. So the reason it's that we're showing favorable there is we had the number right of what our tuition, or not our tuition, but what our premiums were going up, but we did have a few less people sign up than we anticipated. And then the other thing is that we are finalized with cyber as expenses as much as we can tell at this point. So now it's just hoping for that reimbursement. And there was one other line item. Oh, we had a couple of kids go out of district that we weren't anticipating at budget time. So that's why that number is showing a little more unfavorable.
Hopefully we can get a reimbursement on the one that came back.
That's very unlikely, but we'll certainly try. Anytime a child comes back into district, we try to get a reimbursement, but usually when that tuition's paid out, it doesn't come back. So just a little more detail, just in case. Okay. And then we have a technology and a facilities update tonight. So we will start with Greg for the technology. Thank you for coming out.
How's everybody doing? So I'm Greg Cormier, for anybody who doesn't know me. I've been here for 5 years now, and I'm currently the IT specialist here since Greg Pont has departed. I'm currently working in collaboration with Learn, who I'm sure you guys are all familiar with at this point, and I'm very thankful for them. As you know, they come with a team of specialists, including server specialists, networking, security, and just technicians, which extra hands has always been very helpful through this situation. Together, we've been able to upgrade the district, and before the cyber incident, and definitely after the cyber incident, together we've been able to do things like, I would say, well, it's been a learning experience for me, but with myself and Learn, I think we've handled it the right way. We were able to rebuild the district properly and in an unprecedented amount of time, in my opinion. I I talk to these guys from Learn every day. They're experienced with these cyber incidents. And what we've done here is it was at like a crazy pace, you know, like things that would take years to do. Some examples would be we removed all the classroom desktops and we replaced them with laptops and docking stations in every classroom. We removed a significant amount of the projectors that have been here for a long time and replaced them with the smart boards that we purchased. There's still, I estimated like 12 still at the elementary school and 10 at the high school, that if we want to get everybody to where everybody is equal. We introduced Verkada, which is, that is our security camera system. It also combined with our door access system, which is really easy to use and so much better than what I was doing with the different camera systems at one time and 2 different door access systems at one time. It's all integrated into one. And we lost that in a cyber incident. I don't know if everybody knows that. We lost the door access system in the cyber incident. So we had to build that up from scratch, and staff, you know, we were trying to get them back in the doors before it got too cold as fast as possible. And we were able to do that. If you haven't met Steven yet, he is the Learn networking guy. He was able to get all the switches we purchased for the high school in the building and installed, and get the Wi-Fi up and running so that the school could, you know, continue to function right after the cyber incident. I know there was some fear there, but he was amazing with that and got them to get right back to where they were as best they could. He could not get the wired connections in the wall going yet because that would require a lot more work and disrupting the school. So that, as you'll hear later, will be more of a future project like summertime when nobody's here. But from what I'm hearing, everybody seems pretty happy with being able to do what they're doing with the Wi-Fi. Michelle, she's also from Learn. She's a server specialist. And as you know, our server that we had in there was the main issue with the cyber incident. It was the storage server. We were able to get all those out of there. And Michelle is amazing. I'm not going to lie. She has done a lot. She helped integrate this district into a Google district, which I know the admins at the high school really, really pining for over the years. And now our storage is a cloud-based storage. So they have an option of a OneDrive or a Google Drive. So we don't have to worry about an on-prem or on-site storage unit being compromised. We've also tightened up our security. We added multi-factor. I think that's a very big part. And other things, there's a lot of things, but little things like providing the staff with securely classrooms so they can monitor students. I'm sure the students don't like that, but the staff and the admins like that, you know, to monitor them while they're on their Chromebooks. Finally, this is like the things we've already kind of done. With the help of technicians from Learn, Eddie and Zach, we were able to remove all the at-risk older printers right before and a little bit during Christmas break, and moved more towards a centralized printing district, which is still a work in progress. But I think that's big because we had a lot of printers and they were very old. And we found out, you know, with talking to the CBS and Xerox sales reps that we were working with, they had all the list of all the printers we had that we have a contract with, and 3/4 of them, if not more, were at risk for another cyber attack. If somebody were to go in through a phishing email through a laptop, they would look for the weakest point, and a printer that's connected to the laptop would be that weakest point. So that's why we decided to move forward with that decision as far as the printers go. So we've got a lot done at this point. We're not done yet, and we still have some stuff to do. Currently, we have a couple of projects right now that we're discussing, and one of our next biggest plans is to get the elementary school camera system at level playing field with the high school, right? They have a combination of the old ones that they had, and we also, as you know, we migrated some of the high school ones over when we put the new ones in, and unfortunately, some of those didn't survive the move. So Rob has reached out to us. He's left with a lot of blind spots, and that's not a secure way to move forward. So I think that's going to be our next big thing, is getting those cameras in there, and then everybody can have the up-to-date camera system. I know that the high school is very happy with the one we put in. Like I said about the centralized printing, we're not totally done with that. We're still in discussions with that. We're talking with our CBS and Xerox sales reps about what we're going to do. I mean, they were very surprised when they were kind of telling me they wanted to replace all the ones we had. And then we had, this big epiphany that we're going to get rid of them. And the next time I talked to them, I'm like, yeah, we're down to 23, I believe it is 23 printers. And they're like, oh my God. So we're discussing a plan to, no, it's in the works. We're not sure yet, but we're probably going to try to make the devices, the printers multifunctional so that a staff member could print on the device, not have to bring their page down to the copy room or whatever. They could just copy it right there on that device. And it's not that much of a significant price change overall, but we're still discussing that. So future projects, again, this is probably summer because we don't want to interfere with what's going on in school. Am I speaking too fast? Okay, I'm just making sure. So we have some major projects we really would like to get done. The network clearly needs to get finished. Like I said earlier, it's all Wi-Fi right now, and that's not sufficient. It needs, the wired connections in the wall need to be done. But like I said, Stephen can't, that's his area and he can't do that without disrupting school right now. But he says to me that it's not a big deal. Once everybody's out, he should be able to get that done. But we do have 4 switches in the room right now that he's going to put in the central office area here. And then we really got to get the ones for the elementary school closet, because everywhere in the district is covered as far as new switches, but the elementary school is the only one that's left. And, we want to get everybody with the new hardware. The Wi-Fi, we want to set up, configure it that it has, a staff level and a guest level, and they have their own permissions or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's definitely something he's going to do as soon as school gets out too. We don't want to mess with the Wi-Fi. The kids already had to deal with changing the password on that and everything, but we want to make that secure so that they don't have as much access when somebody comes in as a guest or whatever, Let me see, wire connection is good. So there's only a couple more things. We'd like to upgrade the access points, which is the Wi-Fi, that the devices that provide the Wi-Fi. They are just as outdated as a lot of the stuff we've replaced. They provide Wi-Fi 5. That is an older technology. Nowadays, it's a Wi-Fi 7. I know that being here for a while, a lot of the complaints I hear are during testing time. A lot of the staff are saying that, the kids lose connection on their Chromebooks and stuff like that in certain areas. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So we're scrambling around. We might grab, like I did today, so you guys don't lose connection in here. We grab an access point and put it in an area that it isn't mounted. It's kind of just there on a counter. It just doesn't work well that way, but it's sufficient for the moment. So if we upgrade to Wi-Fi 7, it'll provide a broader signal, a more powerful signal, and we shouldn't have these connection issues moving forward. Finally, the Wheeler Tech Department computer labs. So we have a computer lab at the high school that is half outdated. Right now, we use grant computers that were purchased and we put them in there. So Mr. Mendolia can continue to do his classes. We just did that last week. Moving forward, the admin has a plan to kind of shuffle around where things are, where the computers go and where the staff go. And over the summer, we're gonna put that plan in place. Gonna take a lot of hands. Those tech guys I was talking about from Learn, because it's moving a lot of devices, and then on my end, it's setting them up and putting them in the right rooms in our network and stuff like that. But they seem pretty happy about what we've done so far and what we could do with their plan moving forward. So I think that's pretty much it. Anybody have any questions or comments? I'm ready for them. Let's go.
All right, do you want to start down there? Chet, do you have any questions?
No question.
Okay, Amy?
I just have one question.
Sure.
So everything that they're putting into upgrading all of the systems,
Mhm.
has anybody mentioned like enhancements for quantum?
Not that I've heard.
Or like-
No, not really. Is that a software?
Well, like the post-quantum cryptology software for enhancements for authentications?
Mm-mm. As far as like MFA, multi-factor authentication? No. I mean, like I said, the Learn has come in and what they've done in other districts, and they implemented the multi-factor the way we have it. I know people get frustrated with it, but it's definitely the way we have it right now is very secure and the way we need to do it moving forward. I'm not
I would
familiar
just
with
keep
that
an
one.
eye open for it because I
Okay.
think that's within the next 1 to 2 years. That's really where the security is going to be moving. So
Okay,
just to
sure.
get ahead of it, because
Sounds good.
where the whole school is pretty much riding on the security of the
I get it.
system.
No
So
problem.
Thank you.
I will note it. Sure.
thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No, no. I just have one quick question.
Sure.
The centralized printing,
Mhm.
it's a big change for a lot of
Mhm.
teachers, especially over at the elementary side, I think as well. Are we planning on making sure we have enough centralized printers so they don't have to go too far to get their printing?
Yeah, I think
Um,
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. I'm sorry. Were you done?
No, no, that's good. That's kind of what my question was. on
Yeah,
that.
so we actually have a committee meeting the end of February to review technology in general, including the printing. So, and I know the teachers are going to have some feedback probably for the committee even before the committee meets. So we are on it, and we are, like Greg said, we've already talking to Xerox and another company about what they could do and to enhance what we have right now. But we got to hear from the teachers and how it's going. And like you said, it's a big change. So from having a printer in your classroom to having one down the hall or across the hall is a big change. And that's what most schools have. So we don't want to go back to a printer in every classroom. That's just not sustainable. But we will come up with a plan that will work.
Can I add something to that? I actually wanted to say it when I was speaking about the printers earlier. So the printers that we kept, they're usable, but they're borderline. Like the ones we got rid of, the ones that we kept, they're right there under it by a year or two. And within a year or two, they might be in the same situation as the ones we removed. So, but we were kind of in that spot, right? Like we made them usable. We put them with the admins. We kind of located them where we thought they would be best. And I think that's what we're going to have to look at those moving forward.
And my final question is just all of these needs that we have for IT, are we including all of these in next year's budget and then kind of doing a priority 1, priority 2, priority 3 kind of thing? Or how are we
Yeah.
encompassing all of these needs
So-
into next year's budget? I
So
guess is my question.
how I see this possibly playing out is if we put all the needs in the budget would be, the technology budget would be large and may not be sustainable. So what we'll probably present to you in 2 weeks, when we actually present the specific budget, is to allocate certain items in the budget that are more like annual kind of expenses. And I might suggest here's some other expenses that are more one time or, once every 5 or 8 year expense that you might consider spending another source of funds called your non-lapsing account. So I might suggest that to you in my initial proposal. In that way, in the initial percent increase of the superintendent budget, you won't faint, hopefully.
All right. Thank you, Troy. That's a great answer.
Like kind of went to, you're talking about hardlining all the rooms.
Well,
Right.
they're already done, but he hasn't been able to configure them so that they work. So the only ones that are wide right now are the labs, the computer labs, the economic lab upstairs, but the regular classrooms, everybody's on Wi-Fi. And I'm sure that's causing a lot of connection issues here and there, but
So, but it shouldn't be like, is it going to cost us a lot of money to get that configured?
no, that's
Okay.
what Steven does.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
Perfect.
It's
It's
if I
with the
didn't say that
learn
clear,
stuff that we're
right,
doing.
like that's the value of somebody like Steven,
Perfect.
as that's his specialty. That's what he's done since he's come here.
Okay.
And he just can't do it because it would disrupt school. It's something that once school gets out, I'm sure it's like the first on his list.
Is it something we could do over one of their like vacation breaks?
It
Or is
depends
it
on
a
how
lot
long it
longer
is.
than that?
Like if it was made a priority, I could ask him that. But I think his priority is getting the switches that we've purchased in
Okay.
central office. Like he has a priority list. And
Yep.
if you guys want to, change that and we could revisit it, but
No switches.
without him here, I don't want to put pressure on him to do it in, whatever time a vacation would be. I just know that he says it's just something he can do when
Okay.
the staff is not and the students aren't here.
And often the work doesn't go optimally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how you
That's technology.
started, you'd hope for, and it may take longer than you thought.
Right.
You know, so to try to squeeze it in over an April vacation is rolling the dice.
So I just have two. One, you've obviously done a lot of stuff with infrastructure, right? So my question about the printers is keeping in mind perhaps there being a pin so that when a teacher sets something up to print, that it actually doesn't print till they go to the printer and they
Yeah.
punch in the
So-
pin for confidentiality.
So we've discussed this
Great.
with Michelle, who is familiar with that. And
Excellent.
we actually, we were trying to figure out how we would do it if we do implement it, but she said that there might be a way we could actually do it with our badges that they
Oh,
use
that's
for the door
fantastic.
access. So we didn't even need another card.
Excellent.
You just go to the machine and do it. But
Love
again,
that.
we've discussed
Love
that. We've
that.
discussed that, but I can put a note in it to,
And then if you could just summarize the training, the ongoing training for both the teachers and the students on how to identify
Phishing
security- the phishing stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, and what to do, because sometimes they might be afraid to say, oh, hey, I just got this pop-up. you
yeah, yeah.
know,
So
yeah.
we have training in
What are
place,
you
correct?
using? No, are
Yeah.
you using No before, or what is it? Is it?
What staff did today, although they could have done it a week ago, because we gave them the link, was to do a 15-minute training. It's
Yeah.
like a little course you take with little quizzes.
Yeah.
So we did implement that. We have not done that with the students yet.
Do you have something that might kind of test?
Yeah.
And send out test phishing and
Oh, for sure. That's what
Great.
it does. Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else? Nothing? All set? No problem.
Randy, what's up next?
Hello. So I don't know everyone here, but I'll just introduce myself. I'm Randy Rumrow, Director of Facilities. And I just wanted to go over a few things that are in the works and then some other things that I wanted to ask in front of the Board of Ed. You had mentioned earlier as far as the recycling bins. Not sure if you have seen, but we put 2 recycle bins in the elementary school and 2 recycle bins in the high school. Now, there already is a recycle bin that's in the high school in the cafeteria, but we put some in other locations as well, hoping that students will see it. We have signs on them. They'll start to put their water bottles or their energy drink cans or anything in there that they put in. It's slowly starting, but I think once word get out there more, then they'll start to use them. As far as things that we've had done last year, I actually lost 2 associates to resignation, and I did hire a maintenance person to work with me. He's been here just over 3 months, Alex Patton. I think he's a very good asset to our team. He's very knowledgeable. He's not afraid of getting to work. If something has to get done, he's up for the challenge. He's helped me with certain jobs that I've been trying to get done myself. And I hope that it continues to go that route because I think that we made a good choice of putting him on board. And I've gotten compliments from staff as well, saying that he seems like a real good worker and they enjoy having him. One of the jobs that we do with the highway department to help this out, which they're doing a real good job. I'm very close with Alan, working on different projects. If I need a hand with something, for example, this lovely snowstorm that we had the last few days, he had to help me because there was so much snow. I'm sure you see when you pulled in, there was not many places to put the snow. I was helping, Alex and I were helping this morning, even kind of directing traffic in the elementary school just because some of the piles are so high. I know there were some blind spots. So we'll probably do that tomorrow as well. And Justin, we can try to get rid of some of the snow. Hopefully, if the highway department can free up a little bit, maybe they can help us get rid of some of that as well off site. So one of the things that they did this fall is we had purchased a softball tunnel for the girls softball team. That way they can practice their batting. That has been put in the very back of right field. That was kind of the only location we could put it. Where we wanted to place it before, it wasn't going to give enough room because you also have to have 2 feet on either side, and it was just too short. But they were able to kind of get down for the millings for us we got all the pipes in place. And once we get nice weather come March time, and they start to want to go practice or swings, we can put all the netting up with the bracing. So I think they're very excited about it. They're very happy to see it. I know Steven went out there to look at it when we were putting it in. So I think that's a good thing for the softball players. I was asked before because last May we had an incident where we lost a leg of power, and it was very odd the way that power was coming into the buildings. We weren't having like a full power outage. We had lost a phase. So I asked Cummings several times. They came through for us. But last Saturday we did a generator shutdown at the elementary school, as that school seemed to be affected more than Wheeler when this happened. So we did do a power shutdown to find out exactly if our plans are correct, what's tied into the generators, and what is tied into the generators was correct when we did all the testing. Not to give real bad news, but what's tied to the generators is not a lot. I will say that we wouldn't, if we lost power, there are no lights in the hallways minus the emergency light scones that are down the halls. There's no ovens work minus the one range, it's gas. The walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer, all the refrigerators and freezers, those are all powered up so we don't lose food. The elevator's working. I rode in it while there was no power, so that's good. That's working. Yes. So, but other things, there were some rooftop units that do work because they are on radiant heat, and also the radiant boiler, the two boilers downstairs worked, so that's good. So at least we will have heat, but AC will not work. So, I mean, that's something that we would want to entertain. Okay, well, what else? Because those generators are big generators and they can power more. So it would be, we'd have to have a conversation. Okay, how far do we want to go with the generators? What else do we want to power? A lot of the computer software programs, unfortunately, they're on a battery backup, so it's not tied into the generator. So I did test the cameras, make sure security cameras worked. Those were still working, but I can't tell if that was on battery backup as well, but I was able to see them and move them around. We plan on doing the high school on February 17th. Well, no students are here. Alan Ladd and I are going to do a shutdown in the morning just to test and go to each ATS to find out what is also powered there. So we have more of a grip on what is to happen when we do have a full power outage in emergency here. One of some of the things I'm going to ask for, we'll actually talk about this. And I mentioned this probably the last couple of years saying, hey, our 2004 Kubota, it's doing the job, but it struggles. It's part of the reason why too is because it's not in any type of enclosure for storage. We don't have an enclosure for it in storage. It doesn't fit in our Connex box. It's too big for the Connex box, and it's seeing wear inside. The town has tried to help us with putting some welds in there, putting some platforms in. It is open to the elements, and when you're driving around and it's single digits, you know, you do get cold in that, you know, you manage through, but you have snow coming in, there's ice. It's rotting out. When you step on, the floor is rotting out. You can see the wheels where the controllers are because all that is rotted out too. It's starting to become a safety issue. Now it's a very big priced item. In order for us to do all the sidewalks, do playground area, emergency areas with the Kubota, you know, it would be good to have one that we can really rely on, because when we start this up each time and do our snow work, it's kind of like, okay, fingers crossed, we're going to get through this storm using this equipment. So pricing them out, the prices have gone up. When I first quoted this, I think they were right around 60. The following year, they went to 64. Right now, from what I'm being told, they are 9 to 12 months out to even getting one that size, which is the smallest. And right now, those are running from $69,000 to $77,000. Now, the quote they give us doesn't mean that's the price we're going to get when it comes in 9 or 12 months later. It's when they get it shipped out to them is the price that someone would have to pay for them. And when I'm also seeing if we can make happen is I would like to get another custodian on our staff. Right now we have one day custodian at Wheeler, one at elementary school, And I have one person that comes in kind of a floating time, 10 o'clock, to kind of balance that out in case any extra cleanup has to be done. And then at night, I only have 2 custodians in each building. Now, if I have a call out, if I have more than 2 of them call out, we struggle to get everything done. There's been times where I've come in early the next day just so I can get trash done and help out, whether it's Jim or help out Andrew or Fernando. Because when like this season right now, we have basketball games going. Larry is more or less doing the basketball wing. He's doing that pretty much 6 hours out of the night if there's 2 games, and after doing cleanup, setup, cleanup as well. And he can't necessarily go and do all the trash down the bottom level in the guidance wing. So I would really like to see if I can get another custodian there, not just the fact of having the coverage, but I mean, I'm doing, and I don't mind this, but I'm doing a lot of the exterior work in the warm months, and I don't mind being out there mowing. I've been doing it for over 3 years now. But one instance, like we had that power issue, I didn't even know that was going on because I was on a mower. Now I'll stop once in a while to check my phone, see if anything's going on, but this happened as I was mowing the soccer field and I missed it. If I would have been at the school, I could have acted a little quicker. So that just leaves myself and Alex. And if I can swing Andrew out there or one of the other custodians to help mow or get the fields ready for games, that would be great, but it would put a little less pressure on all of us trying to wear multiple hats to get all this done, especially if we have one person calling out. So I am asking for another custodian for this coming year. The other thing is, I know that I think there should be 2 more pitchers there. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Then there's no one. Yeah. So that's the roof. It does leak. So if you see it kind of like in the middle, you see where that's actually the back tire. So that is rotted out. That is the gear to remove the counterweight in the back. So that is rotted out. That's the floor. So as myself or Alex are driving, the right is the other tire, and that is the actual floor where we have the reverse. And that's what it looked like when we came in yesterday. So you can see that it's rotted out in the side and also the back there near where the seat is. And like I said, we are making it work, but it is a safety concern. It's a 22-year-old piece of equipment, would have lasted longer. Maybe if it was housed somewhere inside, yeah, it would have lasted longer, but we don't have the means of, or a garage on site to put that away. So it's just like if you had your car, if you had a nice sports car, you wouldn't leave it outside. You'd want to leave it somewhere where it had, temperature control and from mice and other elements that could get to it. So the other thing, I believe this is already approved. Kathy and I were talking about this, the scrubber, which is the floor scrubber, the T7. We had to get rid of 2 of them this summer. They were not worth repairs. They were very old equipment. I didn't see putting an extra $3,000 or $4,000 in each unit. It didn't make sense for a T7, which is the ride-on floor scrubber. So I believe 1 was approved, which we will be given to the elementary school because it's used more than the high school. We don't have any more so all our vacuums, which are industrial vacuums, we don't have any extras. We've been repairing them as they start to go down. Some are easy to repair. Others, it's a total malfunction and we have to scrap them. So I am asking if we can get more vacuums on site, which are commercial vacuums. Those run right around $784 each. So I'm hoping we can at least get 3, just so we have some extras in case one goes down, we can't repair it. So just to state again, I just want everyone to know right now we do have 7 custodians, a maintenance person, and myself. And if is there any way we can get to 8 custodians, I think that will help not only to make the schools look clean and presentable, but just if we have coverage if people are on vacation or someone's out. I know for the schools, even though it's learning, there's substitute teachers if teachers are out. And if we could do the same for the custodial maintenance team, I think that would kind of help their morale instead of trying to rush around to get everything done. We have some people out. Okay. That's all I really had. It's this time of year, we're just trying to make the schools safe and get rid of snow and ice and keeping the units running and heating the schools. So.
All right.
Okay.
Awesome. This
All right.
was really helpful. Both Greg and Randy. Thank you. Randy, really outlining your needs is really helpful for us. You've been doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate all of your efforts. And I know you're doing it with sometimes Band-Aids, to say the least. So
Yep.
we will definitely take all this under advisement. Does anybody else have any other questions? Start with Chet.
So I know we got one floor scrubber through on the Capitol, but there's two that have died.
Well, over the summer, yeah, we had a total of 4. Right now, we're down to 2 in a school, but I'm just asking for at least 1.
Okay, and I think we got approval for 1, so
Yeah.
you have 1 coming.
Okay.
But the vacuums are not anything that we've looked at.
Okay.
Now I know my question regarding is regarding the tractor, because I know that we approved putting that through to the Board of Selectmen in terms of asking for that tractor, and I felt like the big question was, why do we need that size of a tractor? But the price that you were quoting is for the same size tractor?
Correct. And
Because I feel like that was presented in a way when there was arguments against it that, oh, well, why do they need such a big tractor? Why do they? That's not a big tractor.
That's the smallest size they have.
Very
Yes.
small tractor.
Yes.
So I wanted to highlight that because I feel like we had members of the board who were very on board with getting the new tractor, and I want to make sure that people understand it's the smallest tractor they make that
It
we're
is.
trying to get
Yes.
just to maintain snow, correct?
Right, correct. So that one, what we use it for are the sidewalks, the paved areas in front of Wheeler where they usually have the picnic tables, where it's nice if you can picture the front near Burns' office, which is the gym wing, and then the very back. Also some of the drive areas where there's crosswalks. We can do and have been doing the new paved playground area, which takes the most to do. To do all that takes roughly 2 hours, sometimes more.
As a parent who has a
Yep.
kid in the elementary school, though, I very much appreciate the fact that kids are getting outside to play, even when there's snow on the ground or there's mud or there's whatever. So thank you for
Yes,
that.
no worries. So this last storm, because we had so much snow, I could only push about 1/3 of it, and I had to call the town in to help me because that obviously being the smallest one they have, it doesn't have that much torque to push it. And all we have is a skid on it. We do have a bucket for the summer when I have to spread wood chips or we have to do repairs to the baseball, softball field. But I mean, to your point, that is the smallest unit. But it is working for what we need it to do. It's just the age of this unit.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Randy.
Hello.
Is there a way to ensure that there's some sort of emergency lighting in the event of a power outage for hallways, bathrooms, and stairwells?
That's already in place. That those do work.
They do work.
Yes, they do. Yep.
Okay.
And I have a yearly inspection in the summer where they test them to make sure they do work. So it's a PM that they do as well.
Okay.
And we can check them. There's a button to actually go up and check them, make sure they work. But yes, and that was part of the issue. They're like, why is it so dark? But
Yeah.
it was the emergency lights were on, even in the bathrooms. We have them in bathrooms, closets. But so the
But it
emergency
was
lights do
still
work.
dark.
It's still pretty dark. Yes.
In your opinion, just your opinion,
Mhm.
do you find that there was enough lighting or?
Not to have school. No.
Right.
No.
Is,
'Cause-
is there a way to hook the generators up so that the hallways are maybe full light?
Those generators are big enough where we can hook up lights, even if it's like every other bank light or something. The generators are big enough to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Should I add something? Commenting. So all of those network closets at the schools are not connected to the generator as well. And even though he saw cameras, that's probably because of the backup batteries. We have purchased backup batteries. They're enterprise size backup batteries, but at the most, you're looking at 4 hours. You'll lose phones, you'll lose internet, you'll lose everything. It's
So basically
in
all
those server
security
rooms.
protocols are gone.
Huh?
Basically security.
Right, that's what I mean, he saw cameras, but that's because it was on a backup battery. But after a certain
Right.
amount of time, if we have power out for a significant amount of time, those cameras are down, the phones are down.
Yep.
Because they all run through those network switches in those closets. Just to let you know, I know that was a topic when I first started about using these generators are big, right? And these network closets aren't even connected to them. So just wanted to, when he brought that up, I just
Yeah.
wanted.
Thank you, Greg.
How hard is it to connect? Like if we want it, I mean, like you did the test, we know it's not connected. Why are we not just connecting.
Yeah, that was my question. Like, if we talked about it last time, and the generator is big enough to power a lot. We're not sure
It
how
is.
much. Do we know that it will do everything?
I don't know if it'll do everything, but I mean, it could do a lot more. And that'd be doing a run, making sure those breaker panels go to the ATS switch. It's
I'm not an electrician, but why can't you just hook it up to the panel in full and then select what you want to power?
I don't know if you can do it individually or if you have to do the whole panel.
Right. Well, I'm saying like hook
Yeah.
the generator up to the whole panel and then say, okay, we don't need this, we don't need that.
Right.
We do need lights in the hallway.
Yeah.
We do need to support the battery so we don't lose the, I don't know. Is it that simple or is it more complicated? than
It depends. So elementary school is going to,
right. And but if
Yeah.
you can figure out what it can do, right?
right. You can, as from what I understand after having an electrician here, you can power up like a certain breaker that has things that you want to have powered up. But when you do the run, it's everything in that panel. You can't just choose
Gotcha.
which breakers. It's going to be the whole panel. That's why the elementary school was, it was kind of easier to do when we did this because it was just 2 breaker panels and it powered everything.
Yeah.
Because we know one breaker panel has all the kitchen equipment in it, minus the ovens, but it has all the kitchen equipment in it, which is, like I said, the coolers and walk-ins. And then the other one had like RTUs. So it did all like the cabinet unit heaters in the hallways at the bottom of the stairs. And it did the 2 units that are at the end, which are not tied into the other system, which is the art room and the music room. But yeah, that's something. That's why I presented that we should be the next step is look, how can we power all this up?
I feel like it's
what would take-
underutilized, right? If we have all that
Oh,
power, we might
absolutely.
as well
It
use
is.
as much
It
as we
is.
can.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it has like a 2,000 gallon fuel tank in it too. And we're only using like maybe 2 gallons a week when we do our half-hour run. So it can do a lot more too.
I might have missed this, but do you have a plan on where to park the Kubota if we got you a new one so that we didn't have this problem? I mean, that's an old one anyway, so I think it lived its life, but like,
Yeah.
do you have a better suggestion of what we could do to help you keep that Kubota?
I mean, if we the only thing I could think of, obviously we don't have a garage, but even if we had like a carport on like the side of the Connex box or something, at least it's not so much, in the rain elements, because that would help.
Those are pretty cheap, right?
Yeah.
Like a carport. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to note that. I know.
He had me get quotes on a maintenance. Yeah. But
Yeah. But a carport seems doable. I think if we're going to invest in this, we need to have something other than just.
I agree.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Floor scrapers, cleaners, you said 2 of them died this year. And so we're going to get 1 new one, but what shape are the other ones in? Are they old? Are they newer? What are they?
They're a little bit newer. I will say Jim, especially elementary school, he takes good care of those units. And the unfortunate thing is the part that went is a very expensive part. And other thing, like the technician said, you can replace this, but the age of the unit, these things are going to start. It didn't make sense to really repair it.
Much newer or just as old as the ones that
No,
died?
from what I saw in the codes, they're only like 4 years newer. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So and that's part of the thing. I mean, we're making do with equipment that was in this building that's over there. So we're doing repairs, managing with the equipment, but some of this equipment is, we're struggling to keep it going, or it's working okay, but we know, it's not going to last forever. One of these days, it's going to go down. Like I was saying, the floor machine to actually, when we do the strip and waxes, to scrub the floor, to take the to help to take the wax off, to strip it. Right now we have 3 working ones, and so we kind of like, when we're done one school, we put it in the van, we load it over there. So if we'd have enough equipment, we could also get these floors done a lot quicker too.
Any other questions on that side of the table?
I just have one quick question. You said the the new tractor would be like 9 to 12 months out.
Correct.
If you did it, wouldn't the price be like when you ordered it? You said that the price would be when it's delivered, but when you order it, you enter into the contract. Why wouldn't that
lock the price?
When I was informed, because what's happening is with the price fluctuation of delivering, like if it's across the continent, across the US, I mean,
Yeah.
to bring it over here, that changes. He
Okay.
cannot guarantee a price. And I don't know if that contract has a little stipulation in that this could change depending on delivery fees.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you did the generator test, did you test the PA systems to see if they were working for like dismissal or, emergency?
So
dismissals?
we have a separate PA system that's in the firebox that will actually go through the school when we don't power.
Okay.
It's hooked into the fire system, which is on a backup battery for the fire alarm system. Yep, you're welcome. Any other questions?
I have just a couple,
Sure.
if that's okay. One is on the waxing machines and everything for the gyms. We're getting to the end of the lifetime on those. Would it make sense to service that kind of work out instead of buying a new machine for that? Or is that not something that's?
Are you talking about the T7 floor scrubber?
Yeah.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. We can do certain repairs on it, but when it comes into hooking up a computer to it,
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
mean, when you say stripping the gym floors, like we have a machine that does the stripping, like we do the gym floors like every 2 or 3 years?
no,
or
the gym
something?
floor is outsourced.
We do
Yep.
outsource that. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
And then, what was my other question? Any thought on the Kubota? Is there any option for used, not 22 years used, but maybe 5 or 6 years?
I would be
used?
open for a used one too. I said that to Alan this past fall, right near Walmart in Westerly. Someone had the same model right in their front yard. I was like, ooh, but
Yeah.
I don't know what they're selling it for, but I mean, that's an option too.
All right. I'm just curious. I mean, even if we could get one for 40,000
Yeah.
or something, if it was in great shape, just
Yeah.
curious.
Oh, and
about
I
that.
agree. And it's unfortunate with the times, even like a used car, like the price for a used car is ridiculous. And,
Right.
but still, yes. I mean, if we can even save 50% and we can get a good 10 years out of it.
Okay. And then just by listening to the board, I think don't want to speak for you guys, but I think getting an idea of what the cost would be to get those generators servicing everything would be great sooner than later.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I want to do this test first at Wheeler. I've been trying to get this done. Troy and Kathy might know too. I've been trying to get Cummins back out here, and I was like pulling teeth to do this test with us. But Alan and I can do the test at the high school with that switch. So that's why we got to do it. No students are in school, so we're going to do it that 17th.
Okay.
But once we do that and we can see, okay, what really isn't powered, then we can Greg Roy, the electrician's already been out too to try to map it out to figure out what it would take to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic
Yeah.
because I think you would get support to
Yep.
move that in the right direction.
Yeah. And it might not be cost we don't know until we start doing
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is
Thank
super
you.
helpful, both of you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Thank you.
I realized you didn't get to do your report either, Troy. I'm sorry.
I'm simply going to say that I submitted my report in the packet. Do you have any questions? In fact, I think I did say that. My microphone wasn't on, maybe.
Oh, right.
I heard you.
We're, let's see. I don't think so.
So some of it is already has been talked about
Right.
by Greg or Randy. A lot of it has.
Okay. I just didn't want to skip over you as I skipped over about 7 things. So, does anybody have any questions for Troy on any of that? And the NEASC report is up on the website now. Is that correct? It looks like it. Okay.
I asked Greg to do it, and he did it within 5 minutes.
Okay, great.
Actually, probably less.
2.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. That brings us up to old business. I don't know if we need any more updates on the insurance reimbursement. Kathy's let us know where we're at with that. We're just waiting to hear back from the agent. Do we have any potential expenditures to add on the non-lapsing?
At this time, Kathy and I just kind of monitoring the budget in the operating budget and bills that come in. And we feel like it'd be premature to ask the board to spend any non-lapsing funds at the moment. But that could be coming in the next month or two as we get a bigger handle on everything, including the insurance reimbursement.
Quality and sourcing.
So Anna spoke a little bit about the meal quality from the student perspective. And we did find out that there are very few staff who regularly eat the school lunches. I think the number was in the single digits, Kathy, district-wide, right? So it might have been a handful in each school or a small handful from each school on average eat the lunch there. We haven't surveyed the staff on why that might be, or, you know, would they purchase lunch if there were different offerings, but it, you know, the meals are there for the kids, right? I mean, that's why we're here. And staff in schools sometimes do partake in the lunches, and you know, it might be that it would be good for the food service to sell more meals, right? So maybe we should ask staff about what would they like, and would they purchase?
I think you also have to worry about whether or not your staff wants to go stand in line in a cafeteria to try and get a meal.
They've got a limited amount of time. They cover it.
All right. So that's nothing really riveting going on there with the adult meals then at this point. All right. And the NEASC report.
So I gave you in the packet, it worked on just this little kind of summary for you. And the first part of it list the 4 priority areas that we agreed with the visiting team that these are things that we should be working on for the next few years. And when they come back in the fall of 2027, they'll be looking to see what progress we've made on these 4 agreed upon priority goals. And basically, you know, the number 1 has to do with aligning instruction and assessment practices. So how are we teaching, and how do we know that the kids learned it, to the vision of the graduate, which is, you know, we want all kids to be literate and great communicators and critical thinkers, and be responsible and resilient, respectful, all those things. And actually Wheeler has they're measuring this specifically in coursework, and elementary school will be doing that also. But anyway, so there's a lot of progress to be made in that area. The second one really is to do with curriculum and documenting the curriculum. Like, what is the plan for learning for each class? And we don't have that complete throughout the district. And that is one of they're called foundational elements that NEASC says all schools really should have. And that's the one foundational element we don't have, if you read the report. So that has to be a priority area. So in terms of Board of Ed, it might be that the Board of Ed wants to put some support behind staff writing curriculum, actually documenting what is the learning plan for each class and course. And then number 3 and 4 are a lot of what Greg talked about. They're both technology. And the first one is to make sure that it's a lot of a professional development too, making sure that our staff and students are using the technology efficiently, not just to use it because it's cool and it's there, but you know, not filling out a digital worksheet, I like to say, when you could just fill out the paper one. If you're going to do a worksheet, you could just give them a worksheet on paper. You don't have to have them look at a screen for half an hour filling out the digital worksheet, because the learning is the same, right? You want to use the technology so it actually accelerates the learning, right? Or enhances it in some way. So, and that can be tough. But that's how we want kids to use the technology, and that's how we want staff to actually use technology in their work. Because there's a lot of ways staff can utilize technology to make their work more efficient. And artificial intelligence, yes, that is a significant part of it, but you have to think about how you're using that, right? In priority area 4 is a lot about the infrastructure, and do we have the right hardware, software? And that's really a lot of budget implications could be, you could find in that one. And so when we do present the budget, and you asked me, and I'll probably present some of the budget technology that is more annual cost. And other ones I'll say, hey, you can have this in the budget if you want, but if you use your non-lapsing, you're gonna save this percent from your budget increase, and you can still get what you need regarding switches and access points and that type of thing. So then in the other sections, I just simply indicated there's 5 standards. Standard 1 is learning culture, and then the standard 2, 3, 4, and 5, and those on the next page. And these are future areas of growth that the visiting team came up with for each of these standards for us, which we also have to respond to them in 2 years when we do our district summary report. Actually, right before they come to visit, we have to do that report. But we're going to have to respond to all of these because they're going to want to see that we actually did these things, or we said, you know what, we didn't do it, and this is why. So they're not mandates. They're really strong suggestions. But they're going to want to know why we didn't do it if we didn't do it. And there could be some that we like, yeah, that just doesn't make sense anymore. Personally, there's one under standard 5, I think makes a lot of sense, has to do with a track. Did you notice that one? Let me point that out to you in case you didn't notice. If you look at the bottom of that page under standard 5 learning resources, the third area for future growth, it talks about a tunnel on the Route 2, right? That's important. But you keep going, and then it says outdoor running track. Do you see that? Would you want to underline that for me, please? Okay, there you go. Oh, yeah. So ensure, no, you can read it. But anyway, I didn't want that to get lost. So I wanted to make sure you knew that was there.
But I think for the public.
Want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Like,
Okay,
to-
so let
to
me read
hear
this
what
one.
that says,
This is
actually.
a future area for growth presented to the written for us by the 9-member visiting team of the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, who are a group of educators who are giving us feedback from outside perspective. They say, ensure that the tunnel below Route 2 is safe for use and in compliance with applicable codes. And then plan and improve the condition of the outdoor running track, which does not currently meet high school competition standards.
Nor does it really meet the definition of a track.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they were trying to be kind. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, pointed that out. The next page has what are, and Kim Haggerty was really helpful in coming up with this draft goals that the board could consider if they wanted to. If the board is looking for new goals that would be in alignment with the feedback we got from NEASC, you could consider these as goals, or at least it could be a place to start. It doesn't have to be these. You can do whatever you want. But if you did something like this, it would be in alignment with the NEASC report. And then lastly, the last 2 pages are towards the end of their long report. They list a whole bunch of commendations. These are little pats on the back, things that they notice that we're doing really well. And usually, I tell you, because I go out and lead these visits, right? I've been doing it for years. Usually there's 10 commendations. Okay, they gave us all of these. I think they were impressed with what they saw. So anyway, it's nice to read through these. It can make you feel pretty good, but not falsely. I mean, it's a really great place to learn and to work. So enjoy that reading if you haven't read those yet. So that's it. I just wanted to give you a simple report, so you didn't have to. You can still read the big report, and it is on the webpage. But that's kind of a summary of some of it and what you might consider for goals.
I think the commendations are excellent, and certainly we might want to reflect on some of those when we're presenting our budget as well, for a lot of the positive things that are going on in our district. We have so much to be proud of here, for sure. Students, staff, the work that you've done, your central office and your administrators. So let's not lose sight of some of that positive work. Any questions on the NIASC report? Brian, you look perplexed.
I'm actually going to go back to the statement about the track. I've sat on and gone on many of these visits as well, and we have been specifically told never to make a recommendation that incurs a serious financial cost. So I'm really confused about seeing that one put into this. Not that they're wrong, but I was always told by NIASC to never put such a recommendation in. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering how that came about.
So I actually tell my teams that when I'm going out and they're writing reports, I'm saying,
Right.
we can't say hire a second social worker.
Right.
We can't say that, right?
Right.
But you can say, deal with the fact that in the survey, a lot of your students are struggling with depression. Okay, so you could say, figure out a way to come up with, design and implement a plan to deal with student mental health. But you can't say hire a second social worker. Okay,
Well,
so
and
that's how you say it. So what did this say exactly?
I mean, plan for and improve the condition of the outdoor
Yeah.
running track.
Right, it doesn't say how to do it. You could get a whole bunch of volunteers with shovels,
Good. Fair.
right?
Yeah.
You just can't say, you could say what to deal, what to handle, what to deal with, but not how to do it. So they didn't tell us how, they just told us what. So I think we're good.
I was going to say, I've been at a school where the recommendation from NIASC was, or it wasn't a recommendation, the statement was, your library media center does not fulfill the requirements, which clearly has an incredibly expensive, fix, but they were just stating it doesn't fulfill. So, this doesn't fulfill high school competition requirements.
In our last visit, we were in the old building, so it was brought up often and repeatedly about the facility that we were in before we built the new school. So a big expense, obviously, but the facility just wasn't handling what it was supposed to be handling. Anything else on the hands?
I just have a
Sure.
kind of silly question, but the tunnel goes under a state road. So who oversees the tunnel and the security of the tunnel? The town.
I believe it's the
Not the
town.
Board of
that-
Ed,
who-
right.
Yeah. So we had that on a capital list a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And it stayed on the capital list.
Yeah.
And the town did some repairs to like the platform
Right.
before you go onto the steps, go down. But if you look at the tunnel, you can ask yourself, do you think it needs more?
Right. Well, who inspects it?
Because I ask myself that when I walk through.
Who inspects it?
And but you should come as a new board member. You should walk through.
I
and-
walk through it a
Okay.
lot of times.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking my questions.
Oh, okay.
Who inspects it? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So obviously the visiting team noticed when they were walking through.
And we
the
certainly don't
tunnel.
want people walking and running across the road.
Right.
But the tunnel,
Right. But there are,
is-
like, if you look closely, there are stairs that have chips out of them that I think someone could trip.
it's very dark. It's very dark.
It's not hooked to the generator.
Well,
And
I
there's
think the
security
big
there,
thing, the
and
big,
it's unlocked.
the big thing with the tunnel, right, is that if you start making any repairs, you're going to have to make it ADA compliant, and we have no, like,
So there might be bigger issues, right? Yeah, that could be complications. Yeah. I once talked about a bridge. But I wasn't getting a lot of support. Yeah, that's about the time I was talking about bubbles. Yeah.
Are there
Anna
capital
has a
grants for
comment, I
that?
If we had the sports bubble, we could make enough money off it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tunnel is definitely has seen better days. It is especially so I don't use the tunnel anymore, but mostly like the juniors who have to park across the street, they use it a lot. And especially when it's like rainy, or if it's a little bit icy and you're running late to school, you might fall up the stairs. Not speaking from personal experience. I'm just saying I've gotten really close to those stairs. And it's not always the safest option, especially if it is wet. So I do think that that is something. And also to go back to the chat, because I don't think we've talked about it enough. I I would say that yeah, I mean, it always comes back to the track. Our Wheeler track team has not been around for very long, but it is, I would say, probably one of our biggest sports. And currently, whenever they do practice, if they want to practice on an actual like track and do all the track and field, they have to go to Griswold. And so I think currently, usually the students and or parents are transporting the athletes to go practice. But if they were able to practice at Wheeler, they would have, more time. They wouldn't have to really share the facilities like they do at Griswold. And I think it would just kind of almost like help build more community, because then you get to practice on your own track. So I do think that that is something that should be looked into.
Yes, please.
Just to be clear, that tunnel hosts the networking that comes from this building and goes across to the school. So if anything were to be repaired in there or worked on, I would warn them or let them know ahead of time that, yeah, I mean, it's in conduit, it's in metal conduit going along the ceiling, but that would just bring the whole school down, just to let you know. I mean, that's the main line. Just letting you know. That's another.
It's in conduit. It's fine. All right. Thank you. Good point taken for sure. All right. So that's going to move us into the superintendent search process. And I pulled out some information from when we did this last time. And we have a couple of different options. The way we went about it last time was to name ourselves as the executive search committee. We had an RFP out and we hired a consultant who helped us with the search. It's up to you guys if you want to try to do it in-house, doing it ourselves. It was a very smooth, nice, professional process. Personally, I think because we're a small district, using a consultant makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons. I know everybody will have, some input they'd like to share in the community, and that's why we do surveys and all of that while we're going through the process. But once we name ourselves the executive search committee, that allows us to meet regularly wherever we want, when we want. That is not something that it has to be a posted meeting. Again, for the privacy and everything for those that are applying, obviously. So it's up to you guys which way you'd like to go. I don't know if somebody wants to make a motion to name us that, and then we can have a discussion, or whichever direction you guys would like to go for this discussion at this point.
I'll make a motion to name the Board of Ed as the executive board for the hiring committee for the superintendent.
Executive search committee.
Executive search committee.
Yep, thank
for the
you.
superintendent.
All right, Brian seconded, and discussion.
So I would just, I think it is the easiest and the smoothest way. I think that hiring a consultant is definitely the way to go if we are going to keep ourselves as kind of the main hiring body. I know that there's other ways to do it. And I know that we got some blowback when we hired Troy about the fact that there wasn't more direct involvement from members of the school community and other pieces. I do like the fact that the consultant sort of took over the process of doing the survey process, having the interviews with all of those people, talking, and then kind of putting that information together for us, because I felt like it gave us one third-party person who was kind of pulling data and then giving us the overall. But I do remember that there was some negativity that came back at us about the fact that we made that choice last time.
Yeah, and thinking about this too, I think even though we name ourselves the search committee, I think we might want to think more about bringing in some of those stakeholders and getting a little bit more feedback on the direction we're headed, or maybe what qualities we're looking for in a superintendent. And I think we can do that even with using a consultant to get that feedback. But keep in mind, even in a corporation setting, you don't typically get to hire your boss. So I think staying a neutral party like ourselves, that can make a difference as well.
I just have maybe a suggestion. I don't know how our workshops are supposed to work as far as the public, but maybe that would be a time in order to involve the community to invite the several teachers or administrators into that so that we can get feedback from them there. But I definitely think that the teachers and admins
Survey of all of those stakeholders to get that information and feedback too. And I think sometimes people will talk a little more candidly through a survey than maybe face to face. I think getting some feedback directly from the administrators would make sense.
Who would create the surveys?
The consultant will work with us on what questions we want put in there. She or he would run it by us so that we can vet those questions and decide what we want to include or not include to put that all together.
Would there be a survey also going out to the community, or is this
Yep.
just teachers and?
No, it can be
admins?
as detailed or as many people as we want to do. It's really our search committee,
Mhm.
and they take our direction and just help us put it all together.
Okay.
I would say that I think that at our workshop, one of the things that you had sent out was the CABE kind of rundown on hiring a superintendent. One of the first things it stated was that CABE is available to come and run down piece by piece. And since at this point, I think there were only 3 of us on the last committee to hire a superintendent, and we have 5 new members who haven't done that. I'm thinking that maybe in that, I know that the Board of Ed retreat's the next one, but that perhaps what we do is have CABE come if they're available to send somebody to that, give the just, hey, this is the way that we go through to, these are the steps that you should go through. These are the things involved, so that people who haven't done it, because I have to be like thinking back, Jamie and I think we're both brand new on the board when we hired Troy, and I had no idea what was going on at that point, because it was pretty quick after we joined, and it was a whole lot of information, and I didn't feel like I had the background. Not that I didn't think I was prepared in that moment, but I think that it's just overwhelming when you're coming into that space. So having them be able to break it down first so that we can look at it and make that decision. We do thankfully have, a pretty big window. I want to get going quickly, but I think having that prior information at the retreat, if CABE is available, would be a positive thing.
So by having that information, so I'm thinking they could even Zoom in with us to have that discussion. They don't have to physically come, but would you say to hold off on, I hate to hold off on naming ourselves for 2 more weeks, because we could get our RFP out and everything else and still get that information during
If
the
we're
retreat.
100% into the idea, I mean, if the board as a whole is like, yes, we want to put out an RFP for a consultant. Yes, we want to be the executive hiring committee or executive search committee. Then I think we do it now. We go through with the vote now on this piece. I think right now it's just to name ourselves, right, is what we're discussing. So on naming ourselves that, I don't think there's any problem with naming ourselves, because we can, again, as you said, we can bring in anybody if we choose that, hey, maybe this isn't the way, maybe we want to reach out in this way, maybe we want to do that. But naming ourselves that way just gives us that open meeting out that allows us to have these discussions. So I would call, we can call for a vote on it, I think, on that piece of it if we want, and then move to the RF or the hiring piece.
Okay. And my thought was and we'll have more discussion, but my thought was just that if we do this, we would do our Board of Ed retreat, which is open to the public, so, do the goal discussion, the public communications discussion, and then we would break and go into the search committee discussion. And then we could bring CABE in to Zoom in and explain that process to us. And like you said, it doesn't mean we're locked into that process, but at least we would have the ability to make that discussion as a search committee discussion. Okay. Any other discussion?
So we're going to vote on that, the executive committee, but then can we have a discussion about CABE afterwards?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Then I'll not speak.
Okay. And then all right, so let's get, all those in favor of voting the Board of Ed as the executive search committee for the superintendent search? Aye. Opposed and abstain? Okay. And then
I would like to, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, and then we just need a motion to put in an RFP.
I would like to make a motion to put out an RFP for a consultant in the process of hiring a superintendent.
I'll second.
All right, any more discussion on that? We do have that already written from the last time we did it, so I can get that over to central office to put out.
My only question would be if we're not 100%, I mean, we're pretty certain we want to hire a consultant. I guess that would be the thing that I would be curious about from the board, because otherwise, does it have to be an RFI instead of an RFP? Can we put out an RFP and not take it?
So
if we're not certain, if we haven't voted that we're going to go the route of the consultant, doesn't it have to be an RFI? Am I wrong? I could be wrong.
No, I just want everybody to understand, if we don't use a consultant, we are writing our own surveys. We are putting together our own interviews. We are reaching out to the candidates ourselves. We are doing all of the work ourselves. And I see a lot of room for error there. I just really do. I think a professional that does it and has it created, I think we can.
I'm in on it. I'm just saying we want to make sure that the vote is saying if we're going out for RFP, it means that we're making the decision to go with a consultant.
Right. And I think then it's how we
Okay, I
want the
just wanted to make certain.
consultant to help us direct the search, right? What do we want to get from the consultant? Who do we want? We can do anything we want to within working with that consultant. So I'm assuming it means we're going to do an RFP for a consultant.
Yeah, I mean, what I wanted to add to that is I think the most valuable thing, if you remember from the CABE search, was that they sat us down and asked us where we saw our vision for the district. And I think that is a really pivotal moment right now to do that, because we have a newish board. I think we all have different opinions. And so I think how CABE was able to kind of take all of our very different opinions and melt it into one. And in the end, we kind of all said the same thing. It was just it was getting us there. And we're like, oh yeah, that's what we want. I think to me, that was the most valuable part of that whole process. And then I agree, like they're keeping track of it. They even pre-screened people for us, even just knowing like, how can we go about this? Like, is this procedurally correct? I think, yeah, it was worth it. I mean, it's still a lot of work.
So, Troy, if you want to reconsider, now would be the time. Okay. Right. Any other discussion? So there's a motion on the floor to okay us sending out the RFP. All those in favor? Aye. All right, motion carries. And then we will have more discussion coming up on the 7th, and I'll let you know when I reach out to CABE if we can get them to come and discuss with us kind of what the next steps are for that process. Everybody okay if we get that out right away? If we try to get it back, get the RFPs back by maybe the 6th of February, so we have them for our retreat? I mean, that gives us a little bit over a week. Okay. All right, great. Para negotiations is next.
So the custodians and the paraeducators are in the 3rd year of their contract, which means they need a new contract, and we need to negotiate it. I was in touch with Nick Grello, who was in touch with the para and custodial lawyer, and they set a tentative date to start the conversation of, I believe it's, just double checking, February 10th at 4:30. No, sorry, 3:30. 3:30 on February 10th. It's a Tuesday. And last time it was the business manager and myself and I believe just the board chair that sat on the negotiations and then, of course, our lawyer, Nick Grello. And I can't remember how many meetings it was. But anyway, we accomplished the work over a few meetings and it went well. I think this time it might be a little bit more work for the lawyers because we hopefully want them to break the contract into two sections, one for custodian maintenance personnel and one for paraeducators, because it is quite confusing. They're talking about different things and one are 12 months employees and one is, a school year employee. I think the para union is very open to doing that. I know I'm very open to do it. I know my central office is open to do it because we refer to the contract often and spend a long time interpreting it when it could be clearer and less confusing. But that means we might have the lawyers do a little bit more of that separation.
Because I know we've tried in the past and had some difficulty
Yeah,
with that.
we mentioned it last time and
Yeah.
I think it was difficult, but I think if both sides are agreeable to doing it, I think as long as I think it's doable.
So is there anybody on the board that would like to do it, or are you guys comfortable with me doing it? Or do you want more than one person representing? Everybody's okay with that? Or I'm okay doing it. I can block that out. So, all right, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
And then we have the stipend committee needs to get put together per the contract that was signed. We need to start meeting. Brian's been doing some really great work on this. Thank you, Brian, spearheading it. So we need 3 more members to join that committee to go through the stipends on the contract and make sure we've got the money allocated correctly. Judy?
When do you meet?
They haven't decided yet.
Then you can count me in
Okay.
if you want.
Right
If you'd like
on,
me to.
Laura. One more.
I'll jump on it. If nobody else.
All right, going once, going twice.
I can do it. Go for it.
Pat. All right, you stepped away very quickly there.
I have a few things going on. There you go.
All right, so Brian, Judy, Laura, and Pat will be meeting with the union representatives and
The superintendent.
superintendent. So if you can reach out to them and get that ball rolling, that'd be great. Okay.
Mhm.
And we have a policy in front of us.
Yeah, in my annotated agenda, I wrote the purpose for having this policy on here. We've had to change a lot based on our cyber incident, as Greg was talking about some of that. One of the things related is we do have a policy that allows students to bring personal devices to school, including laptops. And that is no longer, maybe years ago, that was a good practice. It's no longer a good recommended practice. And it presents a cyber risk to us. So we would like the board to consider at this point, just removing the policy. It's not a policy we need. It's not a mandated policy. And it's actually, if you read through the policy, there's some parts of it that contradict each other. And we think it would allow the administration just to decide what they want the students to do. And we believe that would be have students not bring personal laptops to school. And there's several reasons for that. One is they're not school issued devices with the protective software, so they could easily bring a virus, hook up to our network and cause a real problem. The other thing is it's hard to monitor what students are doing on their personal laptop. Whereas if a school issued one, we can have software that allows us to kind of monitor use and measure screen time. And one of the things we want to do is make sure kids do not have too much screen time during the school day. And if they have their personal laptop, it's really hard to do that. But with their school issued Chromebook, we actually can monitor screen time, monitor what they're doing for their own safety. It's just not best practice anymore. And our tech experts at Learn are recommending that we don't allow it. The extension of this will be that it's no longer recommended that staff bring their personal laptops in. And they had to during the cyber incident because that was the only way we could function and on hotspots and all that. They had to. But if we're now up to speed where people have a newer laptop for the most part, and when we get to that point, there'll be no reason why a staff should bring in their personal laptop because they could also bring in viruses to the school and threaten the security of our network. We really don't want to go. We want to make sure we're doing everything we can so we don't have to go through what we went through a few months ago. So anyway, my suggestion, my request is the board just delete that policy because it's out of date.
I make a motion to retire policy 6141.328.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Not,
I think
okay.
Just in relation to IEPs. In relation to IEPs, they would supersede this policy, whether or not it's there, right? Just wanted to clarify.
Yes. If it was in a student's individual educational plan that they needed to have a personal device to meet their needs,
Yep.
and the team agreed to that, then
Yep.
that would supersede this.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My only main concern would be like the actual Chromebooks themselves, because right now they're very slow and they take a lot to just like work. I know during my psych final, I brought in my school issued Chromebook because they sent out an email saying that we had to use them. And when I had about, an hour left on my exam, so actually initially I had to get a loaner because the one that I did bring in, which was my school issued one, was not working because I didn't use it for 2 years because I had a personal device. But when I was using the loaner for my psych midterm, it stopped working. So I couldn't type on the document and it just wouldn't show up. And so then I had to, switch multiple laptops and a desktop. And by the time I got it fixed, I had 30 minutes left for my exam and I still had like a whole section left. And I know that a lot of other students were having similar issues to where like either the documents like wouldn't show up what you're typing, or it would be very slow, or you couldn't access the materials that you needed to. So I think that if, you're no longer able to bring personal laptops, that there needs that, I don't know if it'd be fixed with like the Wi-Fi upgrade, with like the Wi-Fi 7 or what it would be, but I think that would be a
Yeah. All right.
concern.
Ari, you bring up some good points about that. So deleting this policy it doesn't prevent the administrators from saying Anna can bring in her laptop for this purpose. But what it allows right now is blanket statement that students can bring their personal laptops into school. And it doesn't allow the administration to say, no, you can't. See, we just want the minister to say, no, you can't, but it still can allow them to say, yes, you can for this purpose. So that would be up to them to kind of figure out, and they would probably get some student input before they would like totally change it like tomorrow, So, but yeah, good point. And I would talk to your administrators about what you just said.
there's a motion on the table. What?
Okay, well, we have a motion on the table right now, so unless everybody's okay with that.
The one question I have, and then I have to leave. If we're taking this off the table, are we doing something to then block student access to Wi-Fi? Because it sounds like some of the issues that we've had are related to devices that are not secure or monitored coming on. I think you had said earlier that because of Wi-Fi 5 or whatever that's called, we're upgrading to 7 because it's faster. My question is, how many devices are hooked up to our Wi-Fi on any given day? Are student phones connected to it? How are we monitoring that? So I think but by getting rid of this policy, that's fine. But I think there are a lot of other things that we have to look into. And I know many districts, or not many, but a number of districts have gone to blocking student access to Wi-Fi unless it is through an initialized school issued Chromebook that led to Chromebook efficacy, meaning that it was running faster. They were able to access all the things that they needed to and a better network through Wi-Fi. So the question becomes, what are you doing with it? If you're just going to get rid of this policy and saying you can bring it in here, but not here, I think that sends a mixed message. So I think if I have no problem getting rid of this policy, I don't see a need for it, especially if we are giving students Chromebooks. But then that should be the standard. And we shouldn't be allowing a phone hooking up to it or a personal device unless it is for some reason through an IEP 504 type situation.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. No, we can take comments. That's fine.
I guess,
Yeah.
sorry, just really quickly, I guess I am really concerned about this comment about we need to have students have access to these computers. If they're not running optimally, I'm concerned. So yes.
Do you want to let us know how you vote? Do you want us to vote quickly before you go?
I'm all for getting rid
Okay.
of so I mean, more comment. So
Okay. 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 Continue.
I guess that's my only concern. I guess I'm not.
I guess that would be my concern too, is I'm all for getting rid of it, but then we better have a really great
Yes.
system in place so that kids do not have testing issues. I don't want, like, I understand what you're saying, Troy, but we don't want to say on Tuesday you can bring your device. But, well, then it's like, well, I have a quiz next Wednesday. Can I bring my device then? Or can I, it kind of opens. But I'm fine getting rid of it too. I just want to make sure we have,
Yeah,
we have computers at work. when
Yeah,
our
the
kids need them to
administrators
work.
are on that, the tech department's on that, and they're not gonna cut it off. They want the kids to be able to access a reliable technology as well. So,
Do you want to give us a
but
quick
the-
comment? No, that's fine.
If you're going to speak, can I add a question to it? Because my understanding would be if what we get is the tiered Wi-Fi, which is what we're looking to do, then the guest Wi-Fi may run at a different level than the Chromebook, which would actually try and get students to use the Chromebooks because they're going to be on perhaps a faster Wi-Fi setup than a guest Wi-Fi that's just present. Is that the case?
Yeah, so you're a senior, right? Okay, so there's a lot of factors that in her situation, her device is most likely is most likely a COVID purchase device. And those are the ones that we're with our plan, we're trying to wean out. We just have to get to that point. So I'm assuming that it's an older device. That's one factor. And the Wi-Fi is the other factor. So as we get rid of that age of Chromebook, which we're close. Listen, I'm in that room and I'm like keeping these things alive, like Santa's elf all the time, because we're using them as loaners. We're using them as that year that she's in. Like, so once we get rid of those, then they'll all be updated devices. Then you have the Wi-Fi. And then as to speak to the Wi-Fi network, I was talking to Michelle today about this. So what the networks available to see will be a guest network and a staff network. But we're talking about not being able to see, but there'll be a student network that's hidden that is just connected to the Chromebooks. Just connected to the Chromebooks. They won't have to connect like they do now. They won't have to type in the password. It'll automatically connect to the Chromebooks, and it'll be a student level Chromebook. Access. And then the guest network will be just, you know what I mean? Like the bare minimum that like when somebody comes and visits the school. So all these connection issues and device issues, they should go away. It's just a matter of continuing the Chromebook plan that we have and weaning out these old ones that are barely keeping alive right now.
No, I feel strongly that we're chasing a moving train here because within 2 years, all the technology that we're investing in right now is going to be obsolete. So I don't, I would not be prepared right now to vote on getting rid of this policy for reasons other than I need to do more research on what it means when the schools say that a child cannot bring a device from home. And also what it means that a child's going to be operating a school device at home, and also privacy, child privacy, student privacy. I have a lot of questions that are firing off that I'm not prepared to vote to get rid of a policy to enact something that I'm not too sure about yet.
Okay. Any other discussion on that at this point? Did you have a comment that you wanted to make? Okay, go ahead. Just because if I let one make a comment, I gotta make the other.
I'm Melissa Mallory. I work in the library across the street. So Greg and I work together on taking in the Chromebooks when they're broken. And I would say at this point, probably 25% of my job is dealing with broken Chromebooks every day. And it's a real issue because a lot of these devices are very old, and particularly 7th grade, we see the majority of the kids that have broken Chromebooks are from the 7th grade. And we often do not have Chromebooks to give them when they, like 2 days ago or last week, I guess it was, kids were taking exams and they had to use a school issued device, and they were coming into the media center and I had no Chromebooks to give them because Greg had a backlog of broken ones. And we just see kids in and out, like the same kids coming in saying the same thing's happening. Okay, put it back in for repair. And then, Greg has to scramble, like he said, to make the pieces work and send them back out, and then they're back in again. So I think it's a bigger discussion, and kids who want to ensure that their devices are working are bringing theirs from home because the connectivity issues are a problem. The age of the devices are a problem. I'm the person who takes them in, but I'm not a tech person, so I can't fix them while they're there. So I just wanted to add that there is a bigger thing at play, I think, here than just get rid of the policy. But
okay, thank you. Thank you, Melissa. I guess my other question is, I thought we were rigorously replacing our Chromebooks, and now it sounds like we're not. So I'm kind of lost on why we have so many that are obsolete as well.
We're replacing them. It's just the plan that's in place. So in order to get to that point, we had to, and we've discussed this, like the team, the tech team or whatever, we've got this lot that we just have to use until we can catch up. And that's the lot we're talking about.
And how many more years do we have this lot of Chromebooks kicking
I would
around, do
say
you think?
the new wave of Chromebook purchases should get rid of a lot of those, the way we have the plan written up. But I mean, I would say a year, maybe 2. That's realistic.
Okay.
It depends on how we move forward with the Chromebook plan, because there is a good amount. Like she said, it's 7th and 8th grade, and that seems to be the year where if we have any damages, that's where it comes. And now you're talking about an old device on top of the damaging.
Well,
So-
and that 7th and 8th grade piece, they get a new one in 9th.
Correct.
Right. So the whole new plan is that in 9th, everybody who comes in, as soon as they hit 9th, they get a new one. And now we have the new ones going in 4th or 5th.
Right.
5th.
They're in 5th, but they don't take them home until 6th.
So the 5th grade will be coming in. None of theirs will be older than 3 years old when they get their new set in 9th grade.
Right.
And so it'll all work out, but we couldn't buy brand new Chromebooks for everybody, even if theirs is 3 years old versus 4 years old versus 2 years old. So it's got to phase out.
Right. And we're close, right? Because the 6th graders are bringing them home this year. And when they become 7th graders, they'll have a 2-year-old Chromebook. So it was just the process of getting to here. But like I said, I'm going to say probably a year till we get rid of these. Just trust me, I want to get rid of them too. And like the seniors that have them, they'll be leaving. So the juniors this year have a newer device. So it's just a matter of getting through those. That's all.
So I guess my question is, do we have a plan for this year, for the remaining amount of this year? Like, do we have enough computers for students? If we got rid of this policy, would the students be okay to take their tests? And
The administrators just want to be able to say, yeah, but do we have a plan? Yeah, the plan is to have kids use the technology that they need. And if they have a Chromebook that doesn't function, then administrators are going to know that, and they're going to make sure that the kid has an alternative. This is not something that's going to be, all right, tomorrow, no more personal devices coming into the school. It's the administrators know, I mean, if you have a grade level that has, the ninth grade has brand new Chromebooks and they're working well, and we don't want the ninth graders bringing in, we don't want 29th graders bringing in personal laptops and on their laptops playing games or doing whatever. Not that they're doing that, but hypothetically it's possible, right? They could be way more screen time than we require instructionally. All right. And we don't know about it. And we can't say to them, don't bring your device in, because your Board of Ed policy says they can bring their device in. So I'm just asking you to get rid of that policy. And then trust the administrative staff to deal with how they're going to roll it out. But right now, their hands are tied. The freshman wants to bring in their personal laptop, even though they got a good Chromebook, they can bring in their personal laptop because your policy allows it.
All right. So I can appreciate that. I think where I'm struggling a little bit with getting rid of it is that I'm still hearing this kind of like, but still they kind of can. And I think if even one student struggles to take a test and now lost 30 minutes of testing time, that's one student too many. And I would rather, if we were going to vote to get rid of the device, that meant we're solid on what we're offering our kids. No more devices are coming in the door, and this has been decided. I'm just wondering if we need a little bit more time to either really dig into the existing policy
I
or
would say I would say get rid of the policy, and then we need to have time to bring you an alternative, like what that's going to look like. But right now, my administrators' hands are tied. They can't say to a kid, keep your laptop at home. Unless it's a disciplinary action. If you read the report, they got to discipline every student in order to say, don't bring in your personal laptop. That kid could be distracted by their personal laptop during the day, and they got a perfectly good Chromebook. And I would say just trust your administrative staff to let this play out. But
then if somebody brings one in, they don't have any policy to follow.
It's not a mandated policy. You guys wanted to get rid of policies that weren't mandated. So I'm offering you a way to do that as well.
I would like to differentiate between laptops and mobile phones, and then differentiate between bringing it and using it. I do think that there are times where, especially cell phones are brought to school, and technology is very important. There are tools that students can learn. I don't want students, obviously now, people are using technology, but had an experience where, a child's first experience with technology on a phone was in college. There are lots of technology that can be used that's useful on a cell phone that we should be helping students learn. They shouldn't learn how to use a calendar when they're in college. We should be teaching them how to do that, right?
Absolutely.
So I do think that there are periods of time that instruction could be important. I don't want parents to be concerned that if they send their child to school with the cell phone, it gets turned off for the day, or an administrator says, you're not allowed to have that when they have practice after school, and the parent needs to reach them after school. So I do think it needs to be looked at a little bit more so that everyone's clear on what that policy is. Use of or bringing, and which. I completely understand the laptop situation. I have the same issue at my own employment. We don't allow personal laptops, but we also have to be cognizant of the fact that we're here for education, and our students have to have the resources in order to be able to learn.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you say. I just say, trust my administrative team to do the right thing and get rid of this policy because their hands are tied.
Sorry, I don't mean to really, this says this policy is device, which they do define as smartphones. So you want to get rid of all device?
I'm not saying get rid of the devices. I'm saying get rid of the policy
Okay.
that ties my administrator's hands.
Okay.
They don't.
I mean,
they don't plan on banning
the
cell
use.
phones from coming into the school.
It says the use of the device, as with any personally owned device, is strictly up to the teacher. So we're already giving them that leverage to make those decisions. I
Why
mean,
did you roll, bestie? Listen.
it says that in here a few different times about it being a privilege. They don't have the right to use the device while in school. If it's abused, privileges will be taken away. I mean, so that I think the policy does address giving them, the administrators at this point, some power. I totally hear what you're saying, Troy, and I'm always about, supporting the administrators in, they know best. But we put a lot of effort into this policy for a reason, and without a backup plan of what's going to replace it, then I get a little bit concerned about just doing away with it when I'm not fully confident that we have the right infrastructure in place yet. I think we're getting there and we're doing some great work to get there. And then personally, I'm just not fully confident I know what the backup plan is.
Okay, so that's fine. If the board wants to wait, that's fine. I'm just telling you.
You and your admins get together before our next meeting and come up with something that would replace this, or that would give us maybe a little more comfort with how that looks if they're not allowed to bring their devices? Because cell phones do fall under this
I can meet
policy.
with my administrative team and
All
see
right.
what we can come up with. It's a security, like I said, it's a cybersecurity risk to allow a student to bring a personal laptop into the school.
But if we switch over to the Wi-Fi with the different levels with guest, student, staff, and they log in as guest on their personal devices, and you can restrict the guest Wi-Fi, that would enhance the security and safety on it.
That's not happening tomorrow.
I understand that.
So are the servers that
How
we
about Friday?
just implemented not necessarily secure against outside devices?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
So
that.
the servers that we just implemented, is for me, it seems like the reasoning behind getting rid of this policy would be also what you're saying, for security reasons, because we are not able to combat what might come in from outside devices. Yes, Greg? So somebody could do that from off the street.
Only with the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the way it's encrypted. I mean, people who want to get in can still get in then.
I'm wondering if, and I agree, and and it's just because if it's testing day, that doesn't mean there won't be viruses brought in on testing day because we allowed it that day.
Right.
Right? I mean, we can't say, well, I'm wondering if maybe we could if the admins could come up with some kind of regulation to back up this policy. So that this is the policy, but the regulation says you can only bring it during testing day. You can only use it because the policy does really state that it's a privilege, that they don't have the right to use it while at school. If it's abused, it talks about it being up to the teacher. So I'm wondering if we wrote a regulation behind the policy, because we don't have to approve that regulation and the admins have control of that. Then we have a policy backing up the bring your own device, but then we also have a regulation behind it that might limit that usage.
We can try that.
All right. So do we want to keep the motion on the table, or do we want to vote against getting rid of the policy as Troy has recommended?
I would like to make a motion to table my prior motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Any other discussion on that? All right. All those in favor of tabling it until the next meeting? And then is everybody comfortable with a possible regulation being written behind the policy, or do you want to hold off on requesting them to do that work?
I guess, from what I'm hearing from Troy, like sorry, I'm trying to formulate what, it sounds like we need a policy for the computers. That's the problem. So is it better to have a policy about just the computers? Would the regulations satisfy that?
I think though that what comes along with it is that are people bringing phones and getting onto our the Wi-Fi? Because that would certainly bog down the Wi-Fi, but I don't know that kids are actually doing that, because once they do that, they end up being policed by the software that controls the Wi-Fi. So if you've got a kid who's on any, like, and your apps won't work, your stuff won't work on your phone if you're connected through the Wi-Fi. So I can't imagine that's happening a whole lot, but I don't know. I'm not a kid in the school, so.
I would say from what I've seen, I think most students, especially if they have like an unlimited plan, most students just turn off the Wi-Fi on their phone and they just use service. Like that's what I do. I always use my data just because, like if I have like a free period or during like morning break, if I'm like responding to Snapchats or I'm texting, then usually I just turn off the Wi-Fi and use my data.
Well, and along with that, using the Wi-Fi can make your stuff discoverable in different ways that most people don't want. But yeah, so the distinction between a phone, I think the distinction needs to be the connection to the Wi-Fi if we're going to look at it. So the ability, like, because if somebody brings in a laptop and they just have a laptop, I don't know that that applies in the same way, but since right now the kids have access to the Wi-Fi themselves as opposed to having it drawn into the Chromebook, which is what a lot of districts do, then I feel like that gives a different access. But I don't know. I mean, we don't have to direct to create a regulation because we've already directed admin to create any of the regulations around any of our policies, right? So.
But I guess my point is we don't need an official policy on what is connected to the Wi-Fi. It can be a regulation. That's okay. Is that the level that you need, Troy?
I'm not sure. I have to look at it.
Okay.
Do you mind having that conversation with Troy after the fact, is knowing what our issues here are here, and then bringing that back to make us feel maybe a little more confident in getting rid of the policy? Okay, I mean, because ultimately we'd like to go with what they're requesting, but we just want to be really comfortable with it. All right, thank you. We have a approval of minutes from 1:14.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from 1/14/2026 with the adjustment that executive session, that number 12 be changed to executive session, a personnel matter. The board entered executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain. Any comments on future agenda items from the board?
I have a comment. I didn't know where to put this in here, but I just wanted to mention it because I had a conversation the other day with a community member who was talking about getting a season pass for sporting events and the fact that it could only be purchased at the games. And I made the comment to her that actually anybody over the age of 65 automatically by policy gets a free season pass to all events at our school, which is policy 1350. And I just wanted to put that on the record because I don't think a lot of people know it, because only insane people like myself actually read through our entire policy manual at some point. But it is, I think, an important thing that townspeople know that if you're over the age of 65, you can contact central office per policy and be issued a season pass to all school sponsored events which means that you get in free to drama events, you get in free to sporting events. It doesn't include things that are not school sponsored. So like the CIAC state games, things like that. But any school sponsored event is actually free to anyone over the age of 65 who is a resident of town.
All right. We should be changing that policy. No, just kidding. That's great. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else that you guys want added for future agenda items at this point? No? Okay. Any public comment? And Melissa and Greg, thank you for staying. Appreciate it. Don't see any. So we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Great. Went a little longer, but we covered a lot.
Not terrible.